Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy, the FWLTI to the Big E here once again with another video. So hot off the heels of last week's interview with Nathan Ellington. It went so well. I got so much great support from you guys. Me and Nathan did say we wanted to do it again. So you know what? We did it again. So this is part 2 of the interview between Nathan Ellington and myself. Check it out, people. So Nathan, I want to thank you for taking this time with me for doing a part 2. Obviously there was over popular demand for a next bit, and I know we wanted to do more. So here it is, we're going to do it. We didn't touch on Watford much in the last one because I kind of wanted the video to be quite positive. And I know you got not a great deal of respect to Watford. But I just wanted to get what your take on the whole Watford experience was, because I know a lot of it was to do with the transfer door as well. And that is something else I want to ask you about as well. But I just want to get your kind of views on the whole Watford experience.
Well, from the start, let's talk about, obviously, I was at West Brom. I wanted to obviously get back to the Premiership at the time. When we got relegated the first time, I felt I didn't get enough game time at West Brom at the time, because throughout my career, I'd always been the main man and always played every week. And that's why I always ended up with, more and more goals every season. Mm-hmm. I was always a 20-plus goal scorer every year. And to go to West Brom and not be playing too often, obviously I got 8 in 18 starts in the end. It ended up being what it is. Ended up top scorer at the club, but we still got relegated. And I was like, I'm not finished yet in the Premiership. I know I can go back there. I had ample chances to get back. Watford was one of them. They said they wanted me. When they went up that year, they actually wanted me to join then. When I I had the opportunity to go back to Wigan at the time, because Paul Joe came in to buy me then. They wouldn't let me go. Then they wouldn't let me go to Watford either. So I ended up staying for that season in the Championship. We did really well. We got to the playoff finals and lost last game. And basically, I went to Watford the next season when they got relegated with the plans to get back to the Premiership. And AD Boothroyd, obviously, I had a meeting with him. Obviously, explained everything, how it's great at the club, and I went down, saw the facilities, absolutely amazing. And I decided I'm going to go there and obviously and take off again, start playing every week. And that was the only thing I was interested in, playing every week and getting back to scoring 20 goals plus a season. And when I arrived, they'd already won their first game of the season. And then what happened was, the second game I was involved in, I came on, we won the game, but the 2 strikers had scored again. So it was like, okay, I've come to the club. Obviously I've been seen as someone who's going to come into the side, but the 2 strikers had scored both games. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't really say anything. Let's just, be patient and get in the side when there's a chance to. And I actually started the following game away at Cardiff. But I think what happened was Marlon King actually came on and he did pretty well in that game. That was my first game. So I think he may have scored, but what happened in the end was they both played again and scored again. And then every single week they kept scoring. And I was like, wow, we're winning every game. We're totally, no losses, no draws, perfect record at the time. I think we had 10 games, 10 wins. And I was like, wow, I can't say anything. I can't get in the side. But the only other side was there was no reserve games. So I'm there really feeling sharp, really ready, obviously coming from West Brom, playing such good football, coming to Watford. And it's a different style of play that they had, but I still just wanted to play. I was just really excited to play. But obviously, when it comes to match fitness compared to training fitness is a massive difference. Mm-hmm. And as time went on, months went by, there's no games, there's the one-off game here and there, playing for, a game that may be made up so we can have a game. And I was slowly losing that match fitness to be able to last a full 90 minutes. The type of player I am, I really do things that drain your energy. So to be able to make 90 minutes the way I play, I have to continually play often. For me to be the best.
A bit like, in that sense, like Wayne Rooney. Like, obviously, Rooney hasn't played a lot of games for United this season, but in matches he had a lot of the chances against Arsenal last week. just because he hadn't been playing regularly, he just wasn't sharp enough, and opportunities passed him by that normally he would pick up on that.
Exactly, and that's exactly what started happening, where, you know, it's just the sharpness that's missing, that little extra bit that you need to be ahead of all of the other players. It's not there as much. And then I think down the line what happened was the style of football was very, very difficult to pick up. I remember like one time, I understand the way the play builds up and stuff, and the way, you know, when I need to make runs, the timing and stuff. And when I was on the pitch one time, the ball just came at a time where in my mind, it was never on to play that ball forward. But that was the way they were taught to play. And I'm considering that we did have a lot of players that could play football at that time in that squad. To be honest, the type of football that we were told to play at that time wasn't actually, you know, for the players that we had. And it became quite a frustrating time, I would say, because the players that made it work, Marlon Kingy went, and then a few players came in, and then we went even more Route 1 towards that season. And we were dependent on Danny Shirtu to score the goals, and also to win headers from throw-ins. It was really more about set plays and winning games from set plays. Anytime the ball went out of play from halfway line onwards, we had long throw into Danny Shirtu from anywhere from the halfway line onwards for him to flick on and us to try and score goals from. And I really, really struggled to score goals from a flick on, from a header, in all situations, from a corner, flick it on, try and score, find Danny Shirtu. From anywhere around the edge of the box, it was throw-ins to try and find Danny Shirtu and get a flick on from him. So for me, it was like trying to relearn the game of football at that time when we were top of the league and we should have been able to kill it. But at the same time, sometimes it's what the manager wants, and that's what he wanted at the time. He didn't believe that he could trust us to play as much as we believed we could. And I think it backfired a lot on me. I lost a lot of the will to, you know, sometimes it's like you feel like you're at a dead end. You don't know what to do. Plus, you're not matched for it. Then I started coming into games, and I felt it was very, very difficult time for me, to be honest. And it was only until the playoffs, right at the end when the playoffs came and we had Hull City, that was when it was all about, you know, let's get the ball down and start playing now. Because you realise that's the best way to go. But then it was too late. The whole season we played just for Danny Shirtu towards that, from halfway on to the end. And then in the playoffs, we start to play football. It's just too late. We didn't have enough time to practice playing again with the players we had. And obviously we lost them and went out to Hull City. But at the same time, I've got the brunt of it all because obviously I was the highest paid for a player, the record at the time. And obviously I wasn't producing the goals. But nobody, I could tell you now, anybody who was in that side, it was only Danny Shirtu we was looking for to score. Everybody at the club, we was always saying, come on, Danny, please get us a goal. Let's get us a goal. Because it was all for Danny. Really, he was very, very difficult to stop. And we played that kind of football. And obviously, other players, it hurt everybody else. But and then you had a lot of fans not happy with me. And nothing I could really do about it. It's the only one time in my whole career where I found it very difficult to play football.
Yeah, I'll be honest, that's why I didn't really want to talk about Watford last week, because I know I wanted like last week's video to be more kind of like positive on your career and that lot, and I'd read a lot. I mean, I read a lot of different stuff obviously before we done the interview, getting ready for it and that lot, and it did surprise me how much the fans were on your case and how much they did resent how much you were getting paid and how much the club bought you for, when they looked at the club was in financial like peril at the time. But the thing is, that's not the way I look at it. That was not your doing. You know, what they offer you is what they offer you. That's their choice. But then I know also there was part of the transfer deal where it was a bit like the thing with Martial. If he plays a certain amount of games, they have to pay a certain more money to West Brom. And I know you felt very strongly about that. And I did see an interview where you spoke out about that. What is your views on that sort of transfer deal where you obviously hit amount of games and they have to pay more for you? Because I do think that obviously papers picked up on that with Martial this year. Then they said that could be why Man United wasn't playing Martial as much as well.
Yeah, because then it becomes a financial situation, doesn't it? It's nothing to do with football. In terms of, for the player, it kind of can hurt the player if the club don't have a good enough cash flow to be able to handle that kind of stuff. And, I don't think them kind of things should be in deals at all, because it really, any time anything financial happens outside of your, it's not in my power. But in the end, no matter what I did, it was all then is down to they're going to have to pay West Brom a certain amount of thousands every time I start a match. How many games am I going to start, no matter how good I am? And the one thing is I went away. Obviously, I went to Derby at the time. It was supposed to be a permanent, but it ended up being a loan for the year. And I even did really well there. I had 9 goals halfway through the season. And the same time, I was injured for most of that halfway through the season. Manager got sacked. And then the new manager came in, didn't play me at all. I was top scorer in the cup. We had Man United in the next round. And then they didn't play me. And they had obviously I was on loan on high wages for that time. So they had the plan to obviously get me out of there. And the best way is not to play me and then send me back to Watford. So I had another half of the season where I was absolutely on fire in training. Every game, every training session, the coach would say, Nathan, there's nothing more you can do. You've been unbelievable. I always tell the manager that you've been unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. I felt on fire. Like I just need to be playing. But what's it look like on the outside is one whole season at Watford not doing much. Half a season I've done pretty well, but then in the second half of the season, your name's quickly gone. So for another half of the season, nobody knows Nathan scoring. Nathan's not in the newspaper. I'm just at Derby not doing anything. I go back to Watford and Malky Mackay, he takes over, and to be honest, he was a breath of fresh air. He's absolutely amazing to play under. I really enjoyed his man management the best of every manager I've been at. Not to say that obviously the managers, I told you before that the managers that were really good, but Malcolm Mackay, he got it exactly how a player would want. Training to be always with the ball. Even if he had the hard running sessions, it was always with the ball. It gave you the opportunity to decide what you want to do, how you want to debrief before and after the game. It was unbelievable the way he dealt with things and the kind of football he got us playing at Watford. And the great thing is that season, although I didn't play all the time, I always came on for about half an hour at least. And he realised that every time I came on, I would be able to change the game for them. So sometimes it'd be under the cosh. Every time I came on, it always changed and we'd be on top again. So I felt great about that. But the other side was I could only play about 30 to 45 minutes of me being at my sharpest before I started fading. So it was another hard one where, I'm like, I really want to play 90 minutes, but I'll need a few games to get to that level again. But it was just me coming on pretty much like a super sub. Not always scoring, but making things happen, holding the ball up, flicking balls on, putting people in, and scoring the odd goal here and there. So, I remember the Ipswich goal I scored, we won away at Portman Road. So it was a great time to play under him. And but at the same time, he says he understands the situation. The club couldn't start me in games because they'd have to pay West Brom. But there was one opportunity where I got to start. Didn't really have the best of games again because I got tired earlier on than normal, and but then I was on the bench more rest of the time, and then that's when I moved on to Preston. No, I actually went to Greece for the year, didn't I?
I was going to ask you about Greece in a minute actually. So you beat me to that one.
That's what happened there. And then that was the end of the Watford time, wasn't it? I went on loan to Greece. Then when I came back, my contract was up, so I went to Preston on actually. There's half of the season left, and I went to Preston and finished off the season there.
So you quickly just touched on, obviously you went to Greece. What was that whole experience like, and how much did you enjoy playing out there?
I remember Malky Mackay came to me just before Christmas, and he said, the club out there want you to go out there and play on loan. There's no pressure on you to go. But, just go out there, see what you think. And, if you don't want to go, come back and play with us. And I went out there, had a look at things. I thought, you know what, it's okay. And Mrs. came with me, and she was okay with going out there for a year on loan. And I said, you know what? It's a fresh start somewhere else in a different country. Be a good experience to get out away from England and try and just get going again. And I decided to go on loan, and it was a great experience, to be honest. I really loved the people there. The weather obviously was amazing, but the best thing was the fans. It was unbelievable. They didn't have many fans, but they could make noise like Old Trafford with 70,000. I'm telling you, with just like 4,000 people there, unbelievable. So that was great.
I'll be honest, I've seen a couple of clips on YouTube of your goals in Greece, and hearing the fans chanting your name afterwards in unison to like some other guy over the thingy was quite funny. I was like, that's quite for real, man. That's like ultra stuff.
It was unbelievable, yeah. So it obviously is it's a different way of football. It's a different culture, but it was nice to actually play under a manager who speaks in different language. You got the guy there translating everything, and it was fun. And then you had a few English players come over and playing with us as well. The only problem was I got injured twice. Once with on my right leg, with my cartilage got torn, and then that was towards the end of the season. We're fighting to stay up, and my cartilage got torn. And what happened was we ended up staying up on the last game of the season. I scored a penalty as well. So I came back and managed to play the last few games and scored like 7 goals or so. And in like 16, 17 appearances. So it was not too bad. And then at the start of the next season, we played Panathinaikos, first game of the season. I scored there. And then my left leg, same thing. Exact same thing, cartilage tear. I had to come back to England, get treatment, and then come back from that as well. And I was playing again, and then they wanted me to stay out there. But Mrs. was homesick at that point and wanted to go back home. So I had to end up coming back, and that's when I went to Preston. But yeah, it was a great experience to play out there. And I got fun memories of that place as well, and the people. People is amazing. It's like a family club. Family, all the players are like family as well. So it really was fun.
Well, that's pretty cool. I want to touch on something away from your career at the minute, and I want to talk about something that's obviously quite in the news at the minute because it's going on in Italy at the minute. And it's something that should never be in football, and that's racism in football. I know it's a very negative thing to ask, but obviously with everything going on, is it something that you've ever had to deal with in your career?
Not so much, but I have had to deal with it on a few occasions. I've had to deal with it at the most memorable is at Millwall, to be honest, when I went there.
Shocking, absolutely shocking that it would be Millwall.
Yeah, of course, but what can you do? People get upset that you say Millwall is like, I don't understand why people be upset that I be saying I was the one who was a victim, and then I get attacked for it. It was weird. So I was there on the sidelines, and it was kids making these noises and saying these things, and I'm looking at them just laughing, going, wow, you guys are talking like that. And I said, the stewards are sitting there, I goes, wow, you see what's going on, and they don't care. And then I was just like warming up, whatever. And then afterwards, I was so like, wow, this is unbelievable. So I'm on the coach, and obviously I started tweeting, writing, this is unbelievable. Like, it's disgusting what I'm hearing from like these kids' mouths. Like, who's their parents looking after them, letting them talk like this? And then I'm getting even more attacks on tweets. Like, it's crazy. So
people obviously people reading it and then like responding to it, and
more Millwall fans coming and trying to attack me. It was really bad. It was really bad. Like, even threats and stuff. You're like, there's something wrong with these people, but what can you do? Obviously, it's not all of them. It's a small pocket of them. But again, it's like, what makes them think that they can talk like that and make them think that the colour of your skin means anything? Like, you're human beings. Cut you open, you got red blood. Like, we all got red blood.
You see, obviously in Italy at the moment, obviously the black players wanted to come together. They all wanted to go on strike. Do you think that's a good way of dealing with it, or how would you would you suggest that? Obviously, it shouldn't happen, and that's the bottom line. It shouldn't happen, especially in this day and age. It's just crazy. How would you say is the best way to deal with it, or what could the FIFA or UEFA do, or the English FA do?
If they was to see, if people could, like there's cameras all over the stadiums anyway.
Yeah.
So they could easily pinpoint what's going on. They could probably hear it. If they have like concrete evidence of certain people that are saying stuff or doing stuff, or even like fans who can see it and report it as well, they're amongst them. Why can't they report it? And then they never come back. Never allowed to come back. Forget the give them a chance again and again and again. Because that's like, there's no place for it. There's no reason to do that. It's only like, it's just causing much more division, and it's not right. And the players, obviously, if they're hearing it to that extent and nothing's being done, something's got to be done. And the only way to hurt them is to not play. They won't be happy because they won't see any matches. At the same time, if they're caught for it, they shouldn't be allowed to come back in. Shouldn't be allowed to come back in at all. Because I've never, ever, in the heat of anything, ever even thought of saying something about somebody's colour or where they're from. Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand what's in people's mind to even think like that. But unfortunately, that's what you got in the world.
Obviously, when you was younger, you was like me, you was a Christian. Obviously, you've taken up Islam now. When that kind of got out, did you used to get any heat from fans over that? Just out of curiosity, is that something that they used to tease about when you turned to Islam and that?
Yeah, because so for me, obviously, I just played football. I just enjoyed playing and didn't really care about anything else, like in terms of religious side of things. I was brought up, obviously, Boys Brigade and as a Christian, and I knew a little bit, but I didn't know a lot. So when I took up, I thought, obviously, at the age of 23, there's no need to be confused anymore. I'm old enough to work out what's what. And I came to the conclusion that Islam made sense to me, and it was, it showed me clear enough proof that that was the purpose of life. But at the same time, Islam, if you understand what it is, obviously I'm not going to go into all of that, but the reality is it is the same religion. It's just people that made the name of the religion different. We still believe in Jesus and Mary. We still believe in John the Baptist, Adam, Eve, everybody. They're all there. They're all of the same religion. Why have you got Judaism and Christianity when they believe in Moses and you believe in Moses? Like, it's not two religions. They didn't come down and get taught by a different God. It was the same God. And that's all we believe. But it was just the rules of the land and all of that kind of stuff got brought down at different times. So when I started believing, okay, Islam, I'm not going away from what I was brought up as a Christian. I'm not going away from what Jesus told you or what Moses said. So for me, I see it as it's all one religion, but other people see it as three different. And so for me, when I understood that and knew that at 23 years old, I was like, wow, how comes nobody told me about this all my life? I never knew about this stuff. So I got really excited, like, this is great. But I was still interested in my football. And obviously I was open about it. I didn't think that it was all negative or about, this kind of stuff. And that's when I started hearing things like, I remember Jason Roberts coming telling me about people talking about me, about something like he's praying in the corner somewhere, training all the time. And that's when I didn't even know how to pray, and I never did pray anyway. Mm-hmm. So it was weird. And then my agent would tell me that this manager, when he mentioned my name, he would talk about me as in a negative, like, oh, Nathan, when he became blah, blah, he's Muslim, he was this. And I'm like, wow, I wasn't even practicing then. I didn't even know anything about religion apart from I just accepted that was a religion that I'm going to follow. So it was funny how I had negative things on me all the time. And even at Watford, I tell you, certain things are happening where I was even asked, do you think Nathan can cut your beard off? I'm like, since when did a beard do anything? I was like, thinking, wait a minute. You got Aston Villa defender with a bigger beard than anybody. What was his name? Melberg? Is it Melberg?
Melberg, the Swedish guy.
Yeah. And then you had me with a beard at Watford. And I'm like, getting told to cut my beard off because I'm a Muslim with a beard. And then I'm getting told I'm not interested in football because I'm more interested in my religion. And I'm like, wow. I'm reading the Quran on the coach going to an away game. Others are gambling and doing card games. Mm-hmm. That's not a problem. But for me, I'm interested in football because I'm reading about religion. Like, it was just like, wow. I was just open my eyes to, okay, then Islam really is like some kind of problem right now. So it was a hard time as well, having to work out how to implement it without obviously being too out there with it. I ended up making, working it all out. But I do think definitely that played a massive part in my career onwards in my career, definitely, because how else? Definitely did. Definitely did. Because people start seeing me as, he's not interested in football. When someone mentions and says something about you, that kind of stays with you. Yeah. Nathan, he's this. He's not played in 2 years. He's not scored too many goals. So when another person's like, should I take a chance? They're like, yeah, but you know what? It's true. He's not scored in 2 years. He's not. But I'm on fire in training. I'm on fire. I just want to play. And that's what keeps getting out, and that kind of stuff. So it really did have a negative effect. But that was, in the end, it's like I had to take that and start the Association of Muslim Footballers, try to put the spotlight on Muslims getting their rights. And I had to take, I would say I was one of the people who had to take it for the others in the future to not have to deal with it. Same like with the black players that came through early. They had to take it quite a bit for us to be able to come through without any problem. So obviously now it's more like Pakistanis and stuff. It's still, you want to have the Asians not having that kind of problem. Because it was not something that was picked up on, there was things said openly in front of me about Pakistanis just because the situation hasn't been spotlighted yet, put under the radar, if you get what I mean. So them things like that, every time a little thing happens, you need to crack down on it straight away by putting a spotlight on it. So people can't start, really going to work on it. It's just in a negative way. That it's not right. Mm. There's a lot I'd say on all that, but you can see.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to find because it's interesting for me to ask because I have always wondered that, because once I started hearing that obviously you was turning to Islam, I did notice a change in your career. So yeah. I did always want to ask that question, but because I'm quite respectful, whatever you believe in is what you believe in. Yeah. And I didn't want to just come out and ask you, but it was something I was always kind of curious to know if it made a sort of an effect.
Yeah.
Another one I want to ask one more thing before I just want to do some little quick fire questions with you and that. Obviously, in the news lately, Aaron Lennon's going through a lot, and he's been sectioned for mental health issues and whatnot. And there is always used to be a stigma in the world about mental health. Is that something that you've seen in your career through other players that have suffered from it and never really said?
To be honest, I've not seen it, but I can see how it can happen because you got a lot of time in your hands. And just people, if they're not in the right environment outside of training, anything can happen. You've got people who gamble a lot, people who go and, they don't look after their bodies, they'll eat rubbish all the time. And it's like they're fighting different things in their life. And, you can have that. I don't know what happened with Aaron Lennon exactly, but I know obviously I heard about, he's got some problems. But people just... It's hard because players don't really have anything other than football. Mm-hmm. They're in cotton wool for their whole career pretty much. But as soon as the career ends, cotton wool's cut. It's like you're in a bubble and it's just been cut that second there and then. You got a contract for all these years. All of a sudden, the contract's finished, no more money coming in, but big bills to pay. If you don't have things in place from way before you finish, you could be dying a quick death at the end, like in terms of financially, family-wise, everything. I found it pretty tough myself. I thought I did the right thing in purchasing properties and having a portfolio of houses and stuff, and I thought that's what would be the best way of going forward to obviously be okay for after football. Obviously, the crash happened with all of the house prices going down massive, and I got caught up in a lot of that, and obviously for me, it's like a rebuilding stage now. But for me, I don't have that mindset. I think my religion has helped me with that, to be honest, to be able to have the mindset to say, look, I'm fighting to become, a specialist in something else, and I will keep going until I get to that stage where I'm comfortable again. We're at that stage where I'm really comfortable, where football did make me comfortable. Mm-hmm. But now it's that time is gone. There's another chapter to move on to. And obviously I need to now kick on and make something happen. And that's been my attitude. And obviously a lot of players, they only know football. When they come out, they may not have any ideas of what to do. They're running out of time, money's going. And then all of a sudden, you got health problems, mental health problems. So I can see how it can happen. And but, for me, I'd say that my religion has actually helps me and teaches me about the reality of life. And what priorities to put first, and and where everything comes in priorities. So that's where I feel I'm okay, but a lot of people won't be, will they? Because obviously they may not have something to sit back and go, reflect on and understand. So it is really, really hard, to be honest.
I want to say something to you that you probably don't realise, or you probably don't remember. A couple of years ago, I had, and even to this day, I have times where I get quite depressed and whatnot. And I sent out a status on Facebook where I was really struggling at the time, and a load of people jumped in saying, what's wrong, like I wanted to know what was going on. But I don't know if you remember this, but you reached out to me, and the first line was, this is thoughts of a suicidal person, and you sent me a really kind of motivational message. And I've never ever thanked you of how much that helped that day. I sat there and I read that message a couple of times, and it really did pull me through that day. And I've never ever taken the time to thank you for that. And I just want to say thank you now, as we're talking about this subject. I've never ever said thank you to you, and we've never spoken about it since. But no, you did really make the difference that day, and you was the only person that really actually read what I said and clicked on to what I was actually feeling at that time. And I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you for obviously. Well, I'm happy that helped you, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but if I see something and I believe I can help in any way, from any experience or anything I've learned or heard, I'm always going to try and help, because that's the way I am. So I'm glad it has helped in whichever way it was. I wish I remember exactly what it was, but
I don't know. I think it was, to be honest, it was just about a year or so after I first moved to Scotland, and I gave, when I moved to Scotland, obviously I left all of my London side behind me, and we were just going through things at the time that I was really, really struggling with, and I felt like there was just like a massive pressure on me at the time, and it was just, I just let out on Facebook exactly how I was feeling at the time. I don't normally, if you ever see my status, it's not something I really do a lot of. I try to always keep myself kind of positive and stuff like that, but it was like, boom, it was out there, and everyone was like, whoa, what's up? But it was just great how you just read into exactly the situation at that time, how I was feeling, and you was the only one that actually went, hold on, reading this message, this is how he's feeling. And yeah, and that was the first line you said in your message, and it was just like, right, he got it straight away. So before we wrap up part 2 of this interview, because I don't know what it's going to be, because I'll be honest with you, I'm enjoying doing these interviews, so they could go on forever as far as I can, but I want to hit you with some quick fire questions, because I want to do it in part 1, but there was just so much stuff we needed to get out, and just quick fire questions. Favourite game you played in?
So you see, that's a hard one, because it can't be quick fire with this now, because it's like favourite game I've won in, favourite game I've played in is going to be Man United, because I'm playing with, on the same field as all the players I've always supported, the club I've supported. So favourite game would be Man United games, both games. Playing at Old Trafford would probably be the best. I'd say Man United playing at Old Trafford, definitely.
Favourite goal?
For Wigan against Wolves away.
Was that the volley?
No, when the goal kick came.
Oh, was that?
Came down, and I looked at the keeper, brought it down touched it down and whipped it.
The one in off the crossbar that I put in your video compilation.
Yeah, that's my favourite goal, to be honest.
Okay, that goal was sick.
I wanted to put the most power possible, whip it in the top corner, and it hits off the bar. It's always better when it hits off the bar. So.
Do you know what was my favourite bit about that? If you watch that little compilation I put together, the camera cuts to you, just got this like smug look on your face, like, yeah. Best player you played against?
Defender, in terms of like trying to do anything and couldn't do it. I've always said Sylvain Distin has been the strongest, fastest, biggest player one-on-one. I've tried to do stuff because I'm always confident. Anyone I'm one-on-one with, I can do them over. If the ball comes in the air with a header, I always felt I can win it because of my jumping abilities. I always felt like if I'm one-on-one, I can jink and drop a shoulder and do something to always take them on. But against Sylvain, even though I scored 2 goals when we played Everton, when it was one-on-one, trying to win a header, I'm like, I jumped to the highest of my abilities. I was like, yeah, I'm going to flick this. He's won it. I'm like, what? How did he beat me? And then I got the ball down. I'm going to take him now. I try and take him. He just takes the ball. I'm like, okay. All right. I can't do anything against this guy. So for me, Sylvain Distin was the one player who stuck out in my mind as the best defender I've played against.
So you'd also say overall the best player you probably played against as well?
Then you've got, I'm a striker, so it's really defenders, isn't it? Because if you think about it, I played on the field with Cristiano Ronaldo. If he's the best player in the world,
at the time he wasn't. He was green.
Yeah. But there's the thing, isn't it? It's one of them things where best player I've played against is Cristiano. He's the best player, and I played against him when I played against United, so it would be him. So it's always that case that I'm never playing against them players, so I wouldn't mention the strikers on the other side because I'm just focused on scoring the goals, and I'm only seeing what the defenders really are doing more than anything. So
you mentioned Distin as the best defender you played against. I've always wanted to ask you what it was like playing against Rio Ferdinand. How level on a par would you say them two are?
Okay, the thing with Rio, he's smart. He's too smart to get into the one-on-ones. You never get into a one-on-one situation with him. You never get to tussle with him. He's always ahead of the game. So a defender like that, obviously, I'd say is better. But at the same time, it's about my experience of trying to do something and getting stopped all the time, rather than someone who doesn't even have to get in the position. What's better? You'd rather have a defender who don't have to tackle, who don't have to. He's already a step ahead. He's winning the header. He's already ahead of you in thought. What's coming? He's already playing the ball out. You're never even in a one-on-one. So again, that's why I didn't put Rio as the best defender I've played against, because it's just the experience. He would be the best defender because he's definitely the best defender at the time when he was obviously at his peak. I would say he was one of the top 5 in the world at that time. So, obviously he would be, but like I'm saying, if I'm talking about one-on-one on someone, it would have been this time.
Best player you played with?
Kanu has got to be one player that I really admire for where he's been, what he's done in his career, played for the clubs he's played for. When I was very little, I was playing on the computer with him, and then I'm playing on the same field with him, and then he's actually setting up every single goal I'm scoring on a plate. Every time I make a run, the ball's there on the plate. It was unbelievable to play with someone like that. So I've got to put him as number 1 as the best player I've played with, and then I can't end it without mentioning Jason Roberts, because he was the best player as well that I played with in terms of partnership, that you could play with and score so many goals together, and assist between us and goals between us must have been unbelievable. From the minute he came at the halfway through the season point to the time at the end of the season of the next season, we scored so many goals. I think we must have scored over 30-something goals between us each. And the assist between us must have been amazing. So we knew each other's game. We knew exactly what each other wanted, where we wanted it, and we just gave it to each other. We knew that we could destroy any team because between us both, we had every single tool that we needed to unlock any defence. And, most of the time we did unlock defences with ease. So they're the two players that stand out the most. There's many, many players that I've played with that I can mention that really were top, but them two are the ones that stand out the most.
I think I'm going to know the answer to this next one. The biggest joker.
You're not going to know the answer to this one.
No?
Nah, there's three people that come to mind. In terms of joker or funniest, there's two different things. Joker is obviously Jimmy Bullard. You're going to know that. But the funniest is John Hartson and Rob Earnshaw. They were the two funniest people ever. So they're the ones that really stick out in my mind as people in the dressing room, people who in the away games at hotels. They're funny as hell.
Hold on. When did you play with John Hartson?
At West Brom.
When was John Hartson at West Brom?
We played that season championship. He was at West Brom with us, yeah.
Was that when, did he leave Wimbledon to go to West Brom? Is that where he went after Wimbledon? No.
I don't remember where he came from, but he was with us. That's all I know.
Okay.
We played all season
together. Do you know what? I never ever knew you played alongside John Hartson.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He's funny, man.
So there you go. I've learned something new in this one. Your greatest football memory of your career?
You know what? The most fairy tale time in my career, Derby hat-trick. When I scored that third goal, it just felt like I was on cloud nine. It was just weird because we was at the bottom tier pro club, playing against Premiership outfit Derby. Ravanelli, who I grew up watching on Channel 4, he's playing in the team, and I'm there just like playing against them, and I've just scored a hat-trick around the 70-something minute, and I'm like, and it was a great goal as well, outside the box, long ball into me, chest, swivel volley into the bottom corner, and I'm like, have I just done that? I just scored a hat-trick here to knock out a Premiership team Derby in Division 3, obviously League 2 it would be now. So it was like, wow. And then, obviously going home, my friends had come from London to the game, then going all the way back to Bristol, and then having all of the media. That was the best time, the best few days that I remember. And then you've got also winning the league, not winning the league, but clinching promotion by beating Reading on the last day of the season with Wigan. That was a great, great experience as well, because we needed to win because Ipswich were behind us. We could have went into the playoffs, but we won that game, and Ipswich drew in the end anyway, so it was lucky. But we needed to win that game, and I scored to top it off a header towards the end of the game, 70-something minute again, and that topped it off as well, and we knew it was going up, and it was just like, wow, we're up in the Premiership now. We're going to be Premiership next year. That's just a great feeling as well, because obviously I grew up only watching Premiership football, and then all of a sudden, that's the time where I'm realising I'm going to be playing in the Premiership next year. So they're the two times that are the most memorable for me.
I'll be honest, as like someone who knows you personally, I remember when you got promoted to the Premiership, it was like, yeah, this is sick, we're going to see Nathan in the Premiership next year, and it was kind of like, right, let's see if we can get some tickets in. I'm guessing you still got the match ball from the Derby game.
Got the match ball from all my hat-tricks.
What is the best shirt you've got that you swapped with someone?
I've swapped with Rio Ferdinand.
What?
At Old Trafford. Yeah, I swapped with him at Old Trafford, so score every day on pickups. So we used to chat all the time anyway. That was afterwards. But before that, obviously, that's when I got his shirt. So I was like, never met him, never really spoke to him. And then all of a sudden, I was speaking to him every day. So it was, at the time, I said, can you swap shirts? And then I took his, and I said, do you want mine? He goes, yeah. So So I was like, yeah, take it. You know, it's one of them things, isn't it? Like, you're growing up not realising that you're now kind of in the same area as him. I'm like, will he want my shirt kind of thing? It was a funny feeling. Like, I'm like, not there yet, but I am really there. It's like, I've run a raffle ticket to play against him.
Because you're still looking at him like he's up on this pedestal. Like. Yeah.
It's funny. It was funny at the time. So, but you just get used to it more and more when you're playing often and stuff. But at that time, it really did feel like, huh? He wants my shirt? Okay, good. There you go.
So round off the interview, because we've done two, I would say, great interviews in the last week. But how would you like to be remembered?
I just like to be remembered for, you know, obviously doing what I did on the football field, you know, and just remember me for my years when I played week in, week out, and that you saw me at my best, and that's all I'd like to be remembered for, you know, just the success I had. Yeah, you know what? I like to remember for everything. Not a problem. Like, you can't regret anything in life. I did what I did. I got great memories. Obviously, I wish I would have got further. I believe I could have gone further. I know I was told I was an inch away from England, being called up for England, just before I moved to West Brom. But because I wasn't playing so much at that point, I didn't get the call up. So that was a bit of a kick in the teeth to hear that from one of the England scouts or something like that. My agent told me that at the time. To not get back to the Premiership was a disappointing thing for me, because I had like 4 or 5 chances to go back. Every single one just didn't work out in the end. Blackburn, Wigan twice, Watford twice, and then West Brom once in the playoff final. So it was, you know, it was a bit difficult. But in the end, I look at it and say, you know what? I had a very long career. I scored many goals. I scored against my dream club, got to the Premiership, played in the Premiership, played with the top players I've always watched. You know, it's not been too bad. But at the same time, I wish I'd done more. But again, I'm happy that I lived it. I'm happy that I've experienced it. I'm happy that I managed to reach the top in a profession, and I managed to reach somewhere where you're working for in your life, isn't it? So not many people can say that they've done that. So I'm happy.
Cool, man. Cool. I think that was a good way to finish it off. Again, Nathan, I want to thank you, man. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed these last 2 interviews and that, and some of the stuff that we found out. And now I know you played with John Hartson, so I've learned that new as well. But no, I can't thank you enough for taking the time, and it was great seeing how when I put the first video out there, how loved you still are with the Wigan fans. I always knew that Wigan still held you quite fondly, but seeing the fans and how they interacted with that interview and the messages I got back on Twitter and how much they still love you, it's amazing. And if you ever want to come out of retirement, right, I live in Scotland now, and I'll tell you now, Scotland football isn't great, and you could probably still do a good job up here and make decent money. So if you ever fancy it, let me know, and I'll go down the road and talk to Hibernian, and we'll get you in.
I'm actually training to get fit again, to be honest. I've been training, I've been in the gym working on a lot of core and stuff. I still want to play, and I believe I can still play at a good level if I'm obviously match fit. It's about getting match fit, though. That's the main hardest part of football. And, you know, for me, if I can train at a club, you know, we're going to even gone down, so you never know. I could be able to train there. And then, obviously, if I start doing well, they could actually have a player on their hands. So that's the, you know, you never know.
That's the dream. There you go. There's the dream. You want to be back in that Wigan shirt. There's the dream.
You know, if it was up to me, I would have never left Wigan. We all know that. I would have stayed at Wigan my whole career if I could. There's nothing. It was perfect, to be honest. But I've got a game next week for the Legends.
Yeah, so, I'll see that.
Yeah, that goes again.
Till coming out.
Done well.
Till coming out again and having a game with you.
Yeah, Till's coming, so I'll be happy to play with him. So there's a lot of players coming from before, so it'll be nice to just get out there and see them again and play with them again. So it's always fun. The last few years has been really fun playing, and it gets better and better because now we're playing against the Dutch Masters and a lot of ex-pros, ex-Premiership, ex-internationals coming as well. So it's going to be fun. Cool,
man. Well, again, I want to thank you for your time, Nathan, and I'm going to let you crack on and get them kids to bed, and I better do the same, to be honest with you.
No problem. Thanks for the interview.
No, it's cool, man. And I hope you really liked how the first one came out, man.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Cheers,
That's why I've done it again.
Yeah, man. You never know, there might even be a part 3. Who
Anytime.
knows? When you start getting into training, you get back at a club, we'll do another one.
Well, I've got a soccer school as well, so, you know, I've got the academy and the soccer school going, so there'll be maybe a lot of information coming from that. A lot of players looking to go pro. A few players have actually just gone pro as well, so it's really looking up. A lot of things are looking good for the future.
Cool. Well, I'll let you crack on, brother, and again, can't thank you enough, man. Take care.
Okay, see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
So that is part 2 over and done with this interview for Nathan. And as I said, never know, there might be another one along the way. I want to thank all you guys for supporting the video last week, and you'll probably support this one as well, and I can't thank you guys enough. Footstepz Sports going onwards and upwards for 2017. This is your boy FOOT, I to the big E, signing out. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all that lovely good business. Bless and peace, people. Take care.